Welcome one and all, this is the Peace Dealer, and in this video we're going to talk about Lilith in the 6th house. So in astrology, the 6th house is all about one's routine and it's all about one's behavior. When you think about the first 5 houses, you have the identity, the value of that identity, the message and expression of that identity in the 3rd house, which marks the attitude. Then you go to where that identity lives and what makes them feel comfortable, and then you go to after how that identity feels, how they express their heart and express themselves. This all leads to the 6th house, the lifestyle of that identity and who you are. And this is where people fuck up the most, because you can be the greatest person ever, you can have the best attitude, but if you don't have a realistic lifestyle, none of that matters. You won't be able to put that and ground that into a life you can live. So the 6th house is all about what you do every day, how you actually discipline yourself and your lifestyle. When you put Lilith here, traditionally Lilith is supposed to actually disrupt this. Lilith will make it very distracting for one to actually focus on their routine and lifestyle. But what it ends up doing is it makes one a master of their routine. But it's only going to be through temptation. Lilith is not going to be like Jupiter or Venus, who will add pleasurable stuff. Lilith is going to crack the whip and she's going to bring temptation after temptation after temptation, but not in the hopes that you succumb to it. It's in the hopes that you master it and not fall to it. She wants to bring the hard stuff so that through that hardship you can get stronger. So Lilith and the 6th house people, they can't go a day without experiencing, they can't go through a day while trying to go amongst their lifestyle and day-to-day routines that they set for themselves. 6 o'clock I'm going to do this, 11 o'clock I'm going to do that, without experiencing sexual temptation. So in a way this is good because, you know, for those who like to have sex, Lilith in the 6th house will make sure you have sexual opportunities, but it's going to be in a tempting place to where you don't focus on the important stuff you have to do because, hey, someone is like throwing that ass in a circle right there for you. So it's something to keep in mind. Lilith in the 6th house people are very shrewd and they're very wise in the way they handle their finances, and they make sure that when they work for an employer, they know how to get on their good side without brown-nosing them. However, Lilith in Virgo or Lilith in the 6th house could be notorious brown-nosers if they don't achieve that level of grace and finesse. They're going to be the people who are not necessarily opposed to probably selling out another coworker, another person to make themselves look good, because they're ambitious and all they want to know is, am I making sure I'm excelling in the place that I'm in? But more often than not, Lilith in the 6th house individuals actually get along well with their coworkers because they're going to be that influence of, you know, let's break the rules a little. They know with the duality of the Virgo, but more so with the 6th house, they know how to appeal to the people they work with while also appealing to their employers. And this, even more so than Lilith and Virgo, invites so much opportunities for sex at work, for romance at work, but not Venus romance, erotic romance. All right, they can really get off from maybe a coworker touching them in an appropriate way. So if you have Lilith and Virgo, be careful, because if you're not like that, if you don't want that, you're going to attract that a lot. People with Lilith in the 6th house, and more so 10th, they attract bosses that are into them, and their boss doesn't even need to think they're beautiful or their type, but there's that sexual energy is going to attract them. Another cool thing about Lilith in the 6th house people though is they, when, you know, to the observer, when they're doing their work, that's when they're almost their sexiest. They have this very erotic way of doing their work, which is counterintuitive because they're not even trying to be erotic. So that's really the essence of the energy, making it seem that way. Lilith in the 6th house people can be too busy. They do not allow themselves time to really isolate and rest. They can be spiritually deprived in this sense because work is their spirituality, but they're not tuning into spirit because they're so focused on what's real. Lilith can make them so critical that they don't have the opportunity to read between the lines. They're so literal sometimes that it could rob them of that divine magical portion of life. But they still know how to make real tangible magic, and Lilith in the 6th house people can use that to amass lots of wealth in this lifetime. So that's a little bit about Lilith in the 6th house. It's about behavior. So it gives these people very sexy behaviors to the point where even if other people don't want to acknowledge their sexiness, they'll still be able to maintain that because it's deep within their behavior. However, an afflicted Lilith will make these people ashamed of their own self and their own body, and this can make them more prude while suppressing that sexuality so much, so to the point where they're super closet freaks, and once they let it go too extremely. Anyway, until next video, y'all.